Welcome to the shop. Today I'm going to be joining the tops and backs that I jointed in the previous episode. So let me grab the camera and bring you along here and show you what I've already done. I've already joined a couple of these, as you can see here. So you can see I use a variety of weights to hold them down before I wedge them in to the joining board setup. One thing you might notice is that I've put more weights on some pieces and less weight on others, and that's just because, you know, I judge it as I go. This piece was a little bit more cuppy than this one, meaning this one wanted to cup a little bit, and so as I'm wedging it in there, you can kind of see how much that the two pieces want to move in relation to each other. So if one end is popping up a little bit, you want to put a little bit more of a heavier, not even heavier, just more of a distribution of weight along that piece to keep that down. Whereas with this one, I was fine just using these narrow weights here. Both of these pieces were nice and flat to begin with. There was no cup in them that was sort of complicating the process. And then this one here was similar to the first one. The Nicaraguan rosewood here was a little bit cupped, and so I just gave it a little bit more help with more weight distribution in more places. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to point that out right off the bat here. Now what I'm going to do is take these apart, and I'm going to show you how we got here. I'm going to go ahead and do this for the rest of my jointed book-matched pairs that I have right here. Okay, let's get to it. It's very important that I first remove the fences from the joining board setup and not the weights. If I pull the weights off first, then those two book-matched halves are still under significant amount of pressure laterally, and they're going to buckle upward. We're going to start here with these Nicaraguan rosewood sets here and just work our way this way. And it's hard to see it on this one, but I have my angled line here, and so that's the first thing I'm going to do is cut along that angled line, which is going to give, when I splay these open, it's going to give it that wedge shape. And then I'm going to run that on the jointer to clean up that edge. Doesn't have to be super clean like we made the book-matched edge here, just clean enough for the purposes of use on the joining board. Alright, so let's take this to the bandsaw. Now that I've cut this into that wedge shape, take the old tape off, and that butts up firmly against that side, and that's what our back is going to look like. We're going to have this really cool sapwood stripe, if you want to call it that, in the middle there. So I'm just going to place that against the fence, place this there, and then we're going to go ahead and clamp this fence into position. Okay, now our two fences are identical to the wedge shape of our actual piece, which when we tap that in, it's going to give us the pressure that we want. I like to use these spring clamps to just kind of hold this up while I spread the glue. But actually, because this is rosewood and it's oily, before I spread the glue, just because it makes me feel good about it, I'm going to wipe mineral spirits on here and then naphtha to clean up some of the oils that might be present at the surface here. Mineral spirits. Followed by naphtha to clean up the mineral spirits. So the mineral spirits gets the oils, the naphtha cleans up the mineral spirits, and then the naphtha just nicely wicks or evaporates away on its own. Always leave these spread out in a safe place after you use them so they don't spontaneously combust, meaning don't ball them up like this and then put them on a pile of wood chips. Keep them loose and open and away from the wood chips. Spreading the glue on there. You don't have to be super sparse with the glue here. I can be a little sloppy with it because I do want to ensure that it is actually going to get everywhere that it needs to. And glue squeeze out isn't a major concern here, so again, it can be a little sloppier than usual. First step like this. Wedge that in like that. I'll go ahead and use these weights here just because they're sitting right here. And these aren't too heavy, so we'll add a little something to it. Now, the most important part is just taking a block and the mallet or a hammer, either way, and just tapping this. Just a couple light taps like that. That looks great. Now if I see, like here, I mean, I'm going to cut out my actual back plate somewhere towards this side of the plate, so a lot of the waste is going to be up on this end. But even still, just as a good example here, you probably can't see this because the camera's all the way up there, but this at the very end here kind of waffles up and down when I press on it. So if that's a concern to you, which again, because it's all the way at the end, it isn't really, but if it was within the footprint of my actual back plate, I would put a little extra weight right there. And just because I have the weights, just by way of example, I'll go ahead and do it. So there. Now, this is nice and flat. Both of these two pieces are very flat and uniform with each other. And that's what I like. And so lastly, take my sharpened stick and just clean up some of the glue squeeze out. It's not a big deal. If I had forgotten to do this, it would just come off through the thicknessing process, but you actually save yourself a little bit of time, not much, but a little bit of time thicknessing just by picking this up now when it's all goopy. Alright, so that's it. That's the whole process. It's really as simple as that. I'm going to let this sit now for at least 45 minutes. I can always, if I'm watching the clock and I really want to get a jump on it when it's done, I can take it off at 45 minutes and feel fine with that. But I like to really set my timer for an hour an hour just feels a little better to me. And so now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and I'll set the camera to a time lapse, and you can see this in nice and snappy, fast motion.
If you learned something here, please give this video a like and subscribe so you can be notified when I release a new DIY guitar making video. And if you want to really learn more, take one of my structured online courses at ericschaferguitars.com or register for a hands-on guitar building workshop here with me in Burnville, Pennsylvania.